The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt, so buckle up, nerds. We're talking WandaVision. Welcome and thank you for listening to another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about WandaVision Episode 5, so spoiler warning moving forward. And I am joined, as always, by my awesome panel of nerds, starting with the Barbarian Space Viking. What's up, V?
I'm zoning out.
Dude. It's tough to wear those glasses when you're not watching a movie. Yeah. But those are very cool glasses that we all got this week, courtesy of Matthew Kadish.
Yes.
Oh, nice. All right. I'm also joined by the ambassador of estrogen, Jude. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Nano.
Shazbot. Nano. Yeah.
And last but not least, I'm also joined by Matthew Kadish.
I'm not wearing the glasses.
No? So. Yeah, I know. I think that might be where
they're going to give me a seizure.
He's too cool for school.
All right,
well, I got to look at the computer screen.
Yeah, so. It's got to be trippy. I can only wear them. I can only wear them for a minute, but they look cool though.
Yeah, they're great.
Awesome. All right, guys. Before we get into it, a real quick word from our sponsors. All right, guys, spoiler warning, we're going to talk about WandaVision Episode 5. We interrupt this program. Or what is, oh, no, this is a very special program. So, what is the title of this?
On a very special episode.
On a very special episode. These titles of these episodes are weirding me out.
Well, they're just basic
television stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Who's doing the synopsis for said episode? Oh, that's right, Matthew Kadish. Lay the groundwork for us, and we will interrupt.
Did Vader want to say something?
No. God, I love this show.
All right. So basically the title of this episode, on a very special episode, it refers to specific kind of 80s sitcom episodes that dealt with controversial social issues like racism, sexism, abuse, teenage pregnancy, death, only one of which appears in this episode. But I found it interesting that, like, now that we're starting to get serious, they chose this title in particular. Mm-hmm. So at the Vision household, Wanda and Vision are frazzled new parents who are sleep deprived due to their twins constantly crying. The two new parents put the twins in their cribs, and while Vision is off to fetch the baby's pacifiers, Wanda tries to use her powers to put the children to sleep. However, her powers seem to have no effect on the infants.
So is this like an ethical thing? Like, should she be using her superpowers to stop the babies from crying instead of like figuring out, like, it seems weird to me that she would go.
She used her superpowers to get him born.
Yeah, but it's like once you're taking care of a kid and you're like,
I don't know.
Might
as well use them.
She also used superpowers to take control of an entire town. So the ethical thing about this,
Wanda's the big bad right now.
It seems that way.
Kind of, yeah.
Is she though?
Yeah,
well,
that's what I'm like.
That's the question, right?
Yeah, is she the big bad? I mean, it definitely makes it. They go out of their way to make it look like that she's the big bad. So it kind of brings into question. But I don't know. I just thought it was weird that she would like do that with her own kids, you know? Like, I get like she's controlling this universe, but in her head, she's just kind of trying to create this perfect world. And then she's also trying to use her powers on her kids. It's weird. It's a weird thing. But
I feel you.
It's very interesting that it doesn't work. Because what is the last thing that her powers didn't work on was the stork, right? That thing was like hopping around. She kept trying to get it to go away and it wouldn't go away.
Right.
Yeah. So there's something going on there.
It's definitely something else.
Something funky happening. There's talk of these kids being mutants. This is how the X-Men get introduced, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, we'll get there. All right, Kadish.
Yeah, so basically it's very interesting that her powers don't work on her babies. So after the babies reject their pacifiers, Wanda tells Vision she thinks that they need some help. And as if on cue, Agnes shows up in her jazzercise outfit and offers to help out with the kids.
What's her catch line? Oh, hi kids, or hi kiddos, or something like that.
Yeah.
It seems, it's very 80s.
And I just love, like, when she comes in, you get the audience applauding and everyone's like, woo!
Her big ass curly hair.
Yeah. Are you digging this week? Because I know that's your thing, huh? The big hair.
I like that. That's very 80s.
No one can tame this tigress.
Oh, she's got some one-liners in this episode that are pretty good.
She has the same hairdo as every girl in my high school yearbook.
Yeah.
Every single one.
I think that's the point.
Yeah,
it's just giant.
Aquanet hair. It's bitch flips everywhere. It's awesome.
Yeah. Soul glow.
Yeah.
All right. So what happens?
All right.
What happens when Agnes gets there?
So before Agnes can do anything, Vision interrupts her, causing her to break from the sitcom script. Looking confused, Agnes turns to Wanda and asks if she wants her to take that from the top.
That was That was kind of creepy because, like, if you notice, like, they had the audience noise and like the music playing and stuff like that, and then when she says that, it just goes completely like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
Vision's
super
all, "What?"
awkward.
yeah, super awkward.
That was
and
weird.
Yeah, and Vision's kind of like, what's going on here? And she's like, so you, it's her wording too. If you pay attention to the words that Agnes says, there are things that you can take in different
She's
ways.
like, you want me to hold the baby.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It was an awkward conversation.
It's
that they
like she
had.
turns to Wanda for direction.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously, like, she's looking at Wanda's the one in charge, and she's
Yeah.
telling her what to do.
But she's also, this means that Agnes is the only one that is aware that it's a show.
I don't know, because there are moments where other characters kind of break through that mind control.
Dottie.
Yeah, you saw it a little bit with Dottie, and you see it a little bit with Herb, and so like you get the sense that it's possible for people to kind of be aware and break through some of this stuff sometimes, but this was the first time where it seemed like a character was self-aware of the actual show that's being produced here.
Yeah. What did you guys think about the? Well, never mind. Sorry, that's Katie's job. Go ahead. What happens next?
What were you gonna say?
I was going to say the opening credits.
Oh,
To the whole like.
we're gonna get
Okay.
All right. So basically, Wanda dismisses Vision's concerns as Agnes goes looking for some alcohol. Suddenly, the babies stop crying, and when Wanda and Vision go to check on them, they've disappeared from their cribs, only to be revealed as grown 5-year-olds. Upon this revelation, Agnes comments, "Kids. You can't control them no matter how hard you try."
Yeah, that's another one of her lines that's like super obvious that it has a double meaning.
Mhm.
So I like that. I like
How
Agnes's
about
character.
Sparky?
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about the dog. The dog is weird.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I have some theories.
All right. So does this lead into the opening credits? Because this is
It does.
this is so 80s that it annoyed me.
Yeah. So next we see an opening credit sequence reminiscent of Family Ties, Growing Pains, and of course, Full House,
Yep.
complete with creepy pictures of Vision as a baby and toddler.
Yeah, this was super weird. I didn't like this opening. I mean, it was fun because it was like playing on all those tropes of the
Oh
old
yeah,
TV
it was
shows.
very 80s.
But I was just like, the music just annoyed me. It was so wholesome that it was annoying to me. So
I mean, it was straight up Family Ties.
yeah, it was terrible. I hated it.
I was digging Wanda's look through the whole episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she did look good.
Yeah, she looked like she was wearing like a vest made out of like a quilt.
Yep.
I loved it. Her hair.
with the mom jeans.
The
Yeah.
mom jeans with the suspenders.
Yeah.
It's very.
Get it.
Yep. Does that style need to come back?
Yeah, I think so.
I think mom jeans are already back.
They are.
I don't think they ever went away.
No, but I've actually been noticing this at work. You know, in my job as watching the casino floors, I notice trends.
Yeah, the
And
high-waisted
mom-
jeans are all you can get right now.
Yeah, they really are.
Mhm.
And it's either that or people wearing spandex that or like Spanx and whatever
Yeah.
that should not be wearing them. Everybody,
dare
it's
you.
crazy. Just saying.
What happens next, Katish?
After the credits, we go back into the real world where Monica Rambeau is being checked out by a sword medic after her debriefing. Monica says that a hopeless feeling of grief kept her real self repressed while inside the anomaly. Agent Wu comes in with Darcy to check on Monica and invite her to a briefing, but the medic wants to redo her exam because the previous results came out blank. Her blood labs also came back inconclusive. Monica refuses to submit to any new test and goes to attend the briefing.
What are you guys' theories about
I
this?
don't know. I don't have a theory on that yet. It's just weird. It's very strange.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of hinting that there's something different about this
Mhm.
girl, but I wonder if it was because of the blip, because she was gone for 5 years and then she came
Could
back,
be.
or if it was because she entered into WandaVision's little.
Well, in the comics, she's a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
She's, is she the original Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe she just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, but she's
Maybe.
currently a character named Photon.
Mm,
So, that's
Which
one
was
of the
her
things.
mother's call name.
yep.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my only question. Like, I know that that's where her character
That's
comes
super
from.
nerdy of you. Good job.
Oh, thanks.
Good job.
I know that's where her character comes from, but I wonder if this is the beginning of it, or because she was so dismissive of the test that she's known this for a while, and this is like not something new to her. So that was my only question.
Maybe her mutant powers haven't manifested yet.
Don't they happen in puberty though, right?
I don't know. I don't think Captain Marvel's a mutant anyway.
No, she got her powers
Yeah.
from the
Mind Stone.
from the Infinity
Oh,
Stone.
I'm sorry. One of the Infinity. Was it the Tesseract? Which one was?
It was the Mind Stone.
Was it the Mind Stone? Okay. Yeah, it's cool that they're gonna kind of bring this into the MCU, so all us comic book nerds can. You ready to go? No, go ahead. I want to see you take that shot.
Okay.
All right. All right. So
That
yeah,
was
it's a cool moment. I'm wondering what the specifics of her powers are going to be.
You know, the thing that bothered me about this scene is like Jimmy Woo keeps acting like he knows Monica, like they're old friends, because he's always like, oh, she does that, or like whatever. But I'm like, you literally met her for like 2 minutes before she got sucked into the anomaly. Like, why are you acting like?
But he watched her in the episode.
Yeah.
He got to know her character.
No, he got to know Geraldine through the thing, but like
I know, I was being sarcastic.
yeah, he's acting like him and Monica are like old friends or something like that.
That's a good point. I didn't notice that. Yeah, he is kind of acting a little strange around her. Like, is that the first time they met when she showed up at the edge of town?
They exchanged business cards and everything.
Oh yeah, wow, that's weird. Huh. These Marvel
Was
characters.
she not a member of SWORD before the blip?
She was.
She was, but he's not a member of SWORD.
He's
He's an
FBI.
FBI guy.
Okay.
That whiskey's kicking in.
Yeah, I know. All right. What happens next?
Okay, so at the briefing, Director Hayward declares that Wanda is the principal victimizer within the anomaly. Agent Wu gives a quick history about Wanda, born in Sokovia in 1989 to Irina and Oleg Maximoff, who were killed during an air raid when Wanda and her twin brother Pietro were 10. And that's the whole backstory about the Stark missile that, you know, they were just counting the seconds until it would explode and kill them.
Yeah. So in Age of Ultron, which is where we get introduced to them, they talk about why they hated Tony Stark so much is their house got bombed and they ended up being trapped in the rubble. And the only thing that was close to them was this freaking bomb with the name Stark on the side. And they were just waiting for it to go off. So like they built up this hate. And then in this show, they talked about how they got radicalized as terrorists. And then they joined Hydra. And then the events of Age of Ultron happened where they kind of turned tides and they joined the Avengers. So,
And
Do you think there's any connection to the fact that like this all went down when Wanda and Pietro were 10, and then we keep the twins at 10 years old for the rest of the episode?
oh, that's a good point.
But they're not 10 yet.
Not yet, but they will be in a minute when they get the dog. So that's interesting.
They don't get older than 10.
Yeah, that's interesting. Nice catch there, dude. Good one.
I love you guys. You guys get so impressed anytime I say anything that's not done.
You're a nerd. Good job.
I know. I keep telling you guys.
I'm actually surprised that she's as into the show as she is. Yeah.
It's cool.
Kadish loves to tell people that I hate this shit. I don't think you know me.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I don't know if they're going to go that direction or not, but I just liked this whole interaction with Jimmy was like kind of on Wanda's side. Like he was talking about how she's an Avenger, and the director of SWORD was like, no, she's a freaking terrorist. She's like the first time.
You know,
he was being such a dick about it.
I'm getting a little tired of the whole director of the government agency being a dick trope.
Yeah,
it's like, can we not have one that's cool once in a while?
But you know, Fury.
That's not named Nick Fury.
Fury did the same stuff. Like he was always doing kind of shady, underhanded, duplicitous things, but it was always for the greater good.
Well, shit, every admiral.
So was Tony Stark.
And is Nick Fury going to be in this? Where is Nick?
I think he's getting his own show.
Yeah, but you would think he would at least have a cameo or something.
Is he part of SWORD?
Wasn't he in a SWORD satellite at the end of Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
No, it was the end of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Sorry,
that's right. Because the Nick Fury that was on Earth was a
I'm
skull.
assuming maybe wrongly that he's in charge of SWORD.
Maybe. He's probably a big part of it, but I don't know if he's going to show up in the show.
Hayward's the acting director, so that would put him in charge of SWORD, not Nick Fury.
Yeah, well, maybe Nick Fury's the guy that he answers to.
Oh, it's possible.
That is possible.
You know, who was the? Never mind.
But the big boss, being in charge and being an asshole about it. I mean, it is getting a little overused, especially with Marvel. But every admiral in Star Trek is a freaking bad guy. Like every time, you know what I mean? Like every time they have an admiral show up on Star Trek, and Captain Picard has to go up toe to toe with them because the admiral's like a jerk. Like it's just a thing that happens.
Bureaucrats.
Yeah. Once you get to
can't have all nice people in a show. No one will watch it.
Exactly. All right. What happens after that?
All right, so you kind of already covered it with Hayward points out that the twins were radicalized and volunteered at Hydra. And when Wu tries to defend Wanda, Hayward kind of dismisses his objections and continues to paint Wanda as a potential terrorist, mentioning both Lagos and Germany, aka the stuff that happened in Captain America Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Monica also objects to Hayward painting Wanda as a threat, but then Hayward reveals security footage from 9 days prior that shows Wanda breaking into Sword headquarters, where she stole the remains of Vision's body.
We called it.
Yeah,
Called it.
yes, the zombie Vision.
That was good stuff. I
Yeah,
like that.
that was cool. And I this is another. Do you have it on your list? What he says about Vision not wanting to become a weapon? Okay, I feel like I have to talk about that in order to talk about this scene. But yeah, it was revealed that in Vision's will or whatever that if he died, he would not be used as a weapon for anybody for study or for whatever reason.
He didn't want to be
He
resurrected.
was supposed to be left dead, right? So then we get the scene, and it's made to look like Wanda was going against it. And I think they even said it, like Wanda's going against his wishes. In her grief, she steals him away.
But Sword was going against his wishes.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, he's on a freaking like diagnostic table,
But,
all
like,
ripped apart.
It looked like they were trying to figure out how to make more of him.
Yeah, yeah. They had him like his torso was in one table, his like head was on. It was like all over the place. Like they were obviously doing studies on this guy. So like, weren't they the ones who were going against his wishes? And Wanda was the one who was like trying to save him from that. Maybe there's a big question mark right there. Like,
I can't imagine them, making Sword this perfect little
angel of a society,
Yeah,
of a government entity. Yeah, it's weird though, because
they're gonna get into some shady stuff.
yeah, like I said though, they went out of their way to make it seem like Wanda was the bad person in this whole scenario, and I'm like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Deflect.
Yep,
Deflect.
exactly. All right, what happens after that, Katie?
All right, so Hayward points out that Wanda resurrecting Vision was in violation of the Sokovia Accords and Vision's living will. Agent Wu wonders how she resurrected Vision without the Mind Stone, and Darcy points out that she has the world's only vibranium synthezoid playing Father Knows Best in suburbia, and she wonders what will happen when Vision learns the truth. Back in the anomaly, Tommy and Billy have found a stray dog and want to keep it. Vision enters the kitchen in his human disguise because he has a hunch that they'll be getting an unexpected visitor soon. And on cue, Agnes enters with a doghouse, and Vision comments that it's odd that their neighbor would pop in with exactly the item they require. Agnes helps name the dog Sparky, and Wanda uses her powers to come up with a dog collar for the family pet.
Yeah.
Vision chastises Wanda for using her powers in front of Agnes, but Wanda dismisses the objections, saying that she's tired of hiding who she is, and that Agnes didn't even notice when the boys went from babies to toddlers.
It's true.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on in this episode, and I like that like Vision's starting to put the pieces together. He's starting to question things, but this
Vision's going to be the one that snaps her back to reality at some point.
yeah. But I do have there's a big question mark on this too. Is like, how is Vision awake? Like when we talked about him being like the zombie Vision from the last episode, where he's just like a dead corpse and Wanda's the one reanimating him. I was kind of under the impression that Wanda was projecting who she thought Vision was onto this dead body. And it wasn't really him. It was just her putting her thoughts onto him.
Well, that's one of the big mysteries of the series is Vision actually alive again, or is he just being puppeted by, whatever's controlling the anomaly?
Yeah. And how much control or how much does he need the Mind Stone in order to become
Well, she gets
who
her
he is?
powers from what?
The Reality Stone.
The Reality Stone. So maybe she's made him with Reality Stone powers, which gives him different abilities. On top
Or
of the
what
ones
if
he had
he's
before.
from a multiverse? What if it's a multiverse version of Vision?
Could be.
Well, I mean, he does have different powers. He never had super speed before.
Yeah, that's right.
and he does now.
He has Quicksilver's powers
Yeah.
in the show.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, he could fly and stuff like that, and he could like go through objects. So that was all part of his old powers.
So maybe she took his corpse and stuck it back together and sprinkled in a little bit of alternate reality Vision and
Some sugar and
Shake-
spice. And
shake and
Full of
bake,
this,
shake and
dash
bake
of
thank you,
that.
ma'am, and there
That's
you
the
have it.
question, though. Like,
I don't
how much of this is
I bet,
Wanda?
I bet we'll find out.
I bet we will. I hope we will. But yeah, I like that Vision was starting to piece things together. Like, I had a sneaking suspicion that somebody would show up, and like Agnes pops in right there.
Yeah, he's starting to notice patterns.
Yeah.
Well, he knows she's manipulating stuff now
Yeah.
because he just snaps the dude in the office.
Oh,
Yeah,
we'll get
we
there.
haven't got that far yet.
We'll get there in a second.
So Vision suspects that Wanda is hiding something from him, but before he can question her further, the kids ask if they can keep the dog. Vision and Wanda say that they're not old enough to handle the responsibility of a dog and that they won't be until they're at least 10 years old. Suddenly, the kids then age themselves up to 10 years old in order to keep Sparky. And Agnes jokes that she hopes that the dog stays the same size.
It was a 80s, sitcom moment for me. I don't know. Is there anything more to this Sparky thing? You have a theory about the dog?
I have some thoughts, but I'll get to it later at the end of the episode.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Continue.
So back at Sword Base Camp, Monica is trying to figure out what it would take to re-enter the anomaly without her reality being altered again. Monica says that she knows an aerospace engineer who would be up for this challenge, but who that is never revealed.
I sincerely hope it's Reed Richards. I really want them to introduce Fantastic Four characters in this show. I would be so freaking stoked.
Well, we're going to be getting them in the X-Men soon.
Yeah.
And the Fantastic Four do have a movie coming out.
Do they?
Eventually.
Oh, yeah, that's
Man,
right. It's on the list.
It better not suck.
Yeah, we have a long history of Fantastic Four movies.
Fan
being
Four
really
Stick.
bad.
God, that movie was awful.
We'll have to touch on those someday.
Someday, yeah. No, I really do hope that Reed Richards is the guy. The other option would be Beast. He's kind of like the aerospace dude from the X-Men movies, especially.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be in this reality yet, would he? They don't have mutants yet.
Not yet.
Well, at the end of the episode, they kind of do.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
God, you're in a hurry, man.
I'm sorry. There's a lot that happens in this episode, and it's kind of hard not to talk about it until like the very, very end.
You're like one of the twins right now. You just want to keep growing up too
I
fast.
do. I know. I'm sorry. Just, snap my fingers and. All right, Kadish, go ahead.
So Darcy says she can't guarantee that the Hex won't just mind wipe Monica as she goes back in, giving the Westview anomaly a new name in the process.
Yeah.
And
I
when
called
she,
it.
Yeah, when she said that, Jude was like, I knew it.
Because which is Hex?
The Hex, the hexagonal shape. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I like that they, it was funny that little comedic moment where she's like, it's catching on. And Jimmy's like, it's not catching on.
and in the comics, Wanda's powers are called Hex powers.
Yeah. So there's a lot of little callbacks. And
she is the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Which they do not call her on this show.
Yeah, she doesn't have a call sign.
Even in the MCU.
She's always just been Wanda.
Yeah.
Well, they even make it a point to point out that they make it a point to say like she doesn't have any other nicknames. And they're like, nope.
Yeah. Like way over the top. Wink, wink. She doesn't have an official name yet. So
which is weird at this point that she doesn't, right?
In all the movies that she's been in so far, nobody's called her Scarlet Witch yet.
They actually haven't had that scene yet that you see in some of the trailers where she's dressed up in the comic book outfit.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen in the next episode.
It's probably a Halloween episode or something.
Yeah.
Give the girl her name.
I know.
Yeah, they've called her Maximoff and Wanda.
Yeah, I wonder. I'd have to look back at some of the the marketing that Marvel's put out in the past couple of years to see if they ever actually did market her.
It just reminds me of like Thanos, where she's like, "You took everything from me." He's like, "I don't even know who you are."
You will.
Yeah. Okay. So
Wanda's a badass. Though.
Agent Wu asks if they've identified the newborns or the kids that Wanda is caring for, but Monica explains that those kids are actually Wanda's and not former residents of Westview. Monica says that everything in the Hex might look fake, but it's all real. Wu points out that Wanda manipulates people's perceptions and makes them hallucinate, but Darcy points out that all of the sets and props were real. Wanda would be wielding an insane amount of power. Monica points out that Wanda could have taken out Thanos on her own if Thanos hadn't called in his airstrike, and that no other Avenger came close to defeating Thanos one-on-one, but Agent Wu argues that Captain Marvel came close. And at the mention of Captain Marvel, Monica gets a disturbed look on her face.
Yeah, she gets real bajiggity. Does anybody know why?
Okay, so there's a couple theories, but I just want to say that I think it's funny that one of the characters in the Marvel shows hates Captain Marvel as much as some Marvel fans do. Because she was like, we're not talking about her. She grew up with her. Like, she knew her when she was a child. And then as far as we know in the movies universe, Captain Marvel just kind of bailed.
Yeah. And we know that Monica Rambeau has a part in Captain Marvel too, so that might fill in some of the gaps there.
Yeah. So, there's probably some history there that we're just not savvy to yet. But I just thought it was funny. Like, she just had nothing to do with her, it was kind of funny because it reminded me of all the freaking people who just despise that movie.
I do enjoy that there's some mystery to this show. Like, we're all like, why'd she get like that?
Yeah.
And then we're all like, who is this witness protection guy, and now we're all like, who's gonna be the scientist? Like, I love that there is stuff in this show that they do that we're all kind of like clueless about it, and we get to kind of guess.
Yeah,
it makes it fun.
It does make it fun, and this is kind of what Marvel is all about now. Like, it's a connected universe. Everything has to do with something else. This is how they get people.
Got to have that water cooler talk.
Exactly, the water cooler talk. Plus, it gets people invested in not just this show, but every freaking other show that they're ever going to put out.
Yeah, they do that really well.
Yeah.
The thing that bothered me about this scene is that the characters seem to have watched Endgame.
Oh yeah, I did notice that too.
Like the fact that like they're sitting there and they're like, oh, Wanda almost took out Thanos until he called in the Blitz, and you're just like, how do you know that?
Yeah,
you know, like how do you know that Captain Marvel almost came close to defeating Thanos? Like, unless like they read the after action debrief reports or something like that.
Yeah, but who would have done that?
But Agent Wu isn't high enough level to do that type.
Yeah,
of thing.
Maybe there's some drone footage out there of the whole battle fight.
Maybe Ant-Man told him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the easiest explanation is that somebody had written down an event. It's like, hey, this is this is what happened that day.
But it's funny because all three of those characters
like
are
knew
friends with a certain Avenger, and so like maybe like they heard it from the Avengers telling them about it. But at the same time, like as I'm watching the show, the minute that happened, it took me out of the show, and I was just like, they shouldn't know that.
It seems a bit meta.
How cool would it be if they at some point showed like drone footage from above of
the whole
Thanos
battle
fight? That would be wild.
That would be kind of cool. But who would have taken that though?
A drone flying around Avengers headquarters?
Yeah, but Thanos' ship was like right above it, blowing shit up. Like I don't know. It seems Kadish brings up a good point. It does seem a little meta for them to all know all these details.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's the J.J. Abrams syndrome, where like the audience has seen this, so therefore the characters must have known this as well.
It was a pretty big event. I don't think you would be able to keep it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know all the details about it.
You would know that there was a fight.
Well, if you're in the intelligence community, you'd probably have a good idea of what happened.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Depending on your clearance.
I feel like that's kind of headcanon.
I mean, I think anybody that's at this camp on this show has got the clearance level to where they would probably know a lot of this stuff.
I don't know. Because they weren't even allowed to tell each other like who they were or what they did.
That's normal. They do that stuff.
And again,
on the lower levels,
Jimmy's FBI. He's not part of SWORD. Yeah. I could maybe understand why SWORD would know some, high level people in SWORD would know what happened.
I'm not going to sit here and defend it, but I think this is the kind of stuff that nerds just like to argue about.
Maybe.
It's just like, okay, we'll discuss it on Twitter, dork. It's like, it's fine.
All right.
Continue.
What happens next?
All right, so Monica changes the subject and goes to the lab where her wardrobe from the anomaly is stored and shoots her 70s clothes. The bullets bounce off, revealing the clothes are still her bulletproof tactical gear that she was wearing when she was sucked into the hex. It just changed to look different. Mm-hmm. The group figures out that Wanda is permanently rewriting reality within the hex. This gives Monica an idea to send something into the anomaly that doesn't require it to be changed.
This bothered me. I didn't think this made any sense. They're like, let's send an 80s drone in and it won't need to be changed yet. Oh, I'm sorry.
Quit skipping ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, like the big thing here was that the clothes, when Wu and Darcy see the clothes, they're like, whoa, are we being mind controlled right now to see those things as they are? And, the big revelation was like, no, once these things have been altered, they stay that way.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
So a Vision steps out of the anomaly.
He's still going to be Vision, right? But then why did we see
resurrected?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, why did we see him in
the zombie Vision? Might have just been her remembering what he looked like when he was dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it might have been like a trauma flashback or something.
Okay.
So he's still made out of zombie Vision parts.
Yes.
But he's not zombie Vision.
But she rewrote.
They just explained it.
Yeah. They rewrote reality to create a new version of him without the Mind Stone.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. Back in the Hex, Vision is now at work and installing new computers at his office. Vision connects to the internet where he comes across a classified SWORD email. Everyone in the office reads the email out loud about the Westview anomaly and the high levels of radiation at the perimeter. Though his office mates take the email as a joke, Vision takes it seriously. He uses his powers to free his coworker Norm from the mind control and discovers that the real Norm is panicked. Norm says, "You have to stop her. She's in my head." But Norm never specifies who she is. Vision restores Norm's mind control to try to get him to settle down, but the brief interaction with the real Norm has left Vision disturbed.
This section had two of the worst dad jokes ever. When they're like, how do you open an email? Do you use a letter opener? And he's like, no, we're already cutting edge. And then later he's like, how do we put a stamp on an email? I was just like, oh my God.
I mean, that was
Cheesy
80s.
I know.
Jokes.
It
for
freaking
sure.
hurt my brain to listen to it. But anyway.
I think it was meant to, though.
I know. It was just like, oh gosh.
You know, somebody who grew up
Watching.
pre-emails,
Yeah.
I appreciated those jokes.
Did you get those ones?
I did.
You're so
And
old.
a shout out to Commodore. The Commodore 64s in the office.
Yeah.
That was my very first computer.
Nice.
And those were real.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I
'Cause
know they
that
were
was-
real.
No. Those ones in the show were real.
Okay.
They're hard to find.
I found it kind of convenient that, you know, the minute they connect to the internet, they get a classified sword email.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny.
Well, I mean, I guess it would be like there's no in-universe email for Wanda to like fake. So when he connects to the internet, he's just picking up whatever's out there, maybe?
I assumed that Darcy sent that
Yeah, that's what I-
specifically
that's
to
what I
see
thought
if she
too.
could get it
Oh, really?
in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It wasn't sent from Darcy, though. Like, it was a classified communique from Sword. So you would think it would be encrypted or, you know, something. So like, and you know, why would they send it to that company's email?
I don't know.
You know,
It's just
like,
another
it was a
one of those
very,
things.
it was kind of like a plot convenience in my opinion.
Oh, so the scene where he's like, he touches the dude's temples and he snaps out of it. Like, that was, that poor bastard was like freaking out.
Yeah.
It was kind
no.
of sad for him.
Yeah.
That was more Mind Stone type powers too, right?
Yeah.
Old Vision wouldn't have been able to do that, would he?
And he was talking about like how much it hurt to be like suppressed and like,
Oh
you know,
yeah. What they
being
say it
forced
was
to
like
do this stuff.
drowning and something like that. Like I feel pain and sorrow and I felt like I was drowning the whole time.
It's Wanda's grief.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty freaky, man. And I kind of, another thing too, I know you mentioned like he brought him back into like his norm to kind of calm him down. But at the same time, I'm like, God damn, dude, he just told you he was in horrific pain and you just put him back there.
Vision's just like, whatever.
It's easier for me to deal with him when he's like this.
He did it because he's got to keep up the
facade, right? Yeah, I just felt kind of bad for the poor guy because he was like telling him how horrific it was to be under that influence, and then he just puts him back under the influence anyway. Like, you'll be all right. We'll catch up later.
All right. So back at home, the twins are teaching Sparky tricks. When the twins want to show Vision what they've taught the dog, Wanda tells him that he's at work. The twins point out that it's Saturday, but when Wanda tries to tell them that it's Monday, the twins are immune to her mind tricks. Wanda tells the kids that there was an emergency at work and their father needed a distraction. The twins are worried that Vision needed a distraction from them, but Wanda explains to them that family is forever and tells the kids about her brother Pietro, but that he's far away, and that makes her sad.
The kids are using superpowers on the dog. Did you guys notice that? When the kid was teaching him how to do tricks, he like touched his temple.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think they're using mind control on the dog. Which, if we translate that from Norm saying that being under this control is torture, and then we translate that to the poor dog, like, why do you think the dog is so eager to die?
Well, you could also point out that Wanda was surprised to see the dog and that it didn't have an owner. So like no collar on it.
Yeah. So you think it was Agnes's doing? Like Agnes brought the dog
That's
there?
what I was going to say. I think that Agnes brought the dog to them just to see what would happen. And I think Agnes killed the dog too, just to see if Wanda would bring it back.
Spoiler alert.
Or she's trying to get those kids to adulthood as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Because Agnes is all about those kids, even from the very first episode. Remember, for the children, right? Like that whole scene. So like she's super into these kids. She wants them for something. And I still don't know what. And I don't even have any theories really. Like I know people out there do have theories about what the kids are for and stuff, but I'm kind of out of it. I don't know what to say about them.
Yeah. So Sparky runs to the door scared. Wanda hears a noise and goes outside to investigate. And there in the sky is a remote drone from the 1980s flying overhead. In Sword Command Center, Wu and Darcy notice that the drone doesn't appear on the broadcast and theorize Wanda determines what makes it onto her show and what doesn't, and that she's the one who's been editing the broadcast.
Yep. another huge like hit over the head that Wanda's in control. Wanda's in control. They're just beating the crap out of us with that message. So that's what makes me think that it's just a red herring. But this, okay, so I can talk about this now. This scene bothered me because that drone did not look like it was from the 80s.
No, it really didn't.
That shit looked like cutting edge stuff. And
Yeah,
then
like 80s drones would have been the size of a camper trailer.
yeah, it would have been freaking huge.
It was an 80s government issue drone. They had cooler shit than we did.
Sword didn't exist in the 80s, so like where'd they come from? Like you're talking about plot conveniences. Like this seemed
not
like
even Shield existed.
yeah, like this seemed a little bit too plot convenient for me. But
actually that's wrong because Shield started in World War II, right?
yes,
Peggy Carter.
yeah, Carter started Shield. I don't know if it was called Shield back then. Maybe
Yeah, it was called
was
Shield.
it? Okay, yeah. Anyway, so maybe they did have cutting edge technology in the 80s. But the other thing that kind of bothered me about this, and I know it's a stupid nitpicky thing, but you remember the scene where the director's like, I know this is tech from the 80s, but can we sharpen the image up? And it's like a black and white kind of staticky image. And then when they zoom in on Wanda, it's obviously like a black and white image, but her eyes glow red.
Yeah, that bothered me.
And I'm
too.
like, hold on a second. Is this a color like camera that's only picking up black and white for a reason?
Wanda decides what comes through on your video.
Yeah, I don't know. It broke me. It broke the illusion.
It's real weak.
Yeah, it was a little. Yeah, I thought that could have been done a little bit better. What's the matter with you? You're shaking your head at me.
Nerd. Gives a shit. I just don't care.
Vader doesn't care about nitpicking stuff.
All right, continue. What happens after that?
All right. So Monica tries to communicate with Wanda through the drone, but when it becomes clear Wanda is going to destroy the drone, Hayward orders the drone to fire a missile at her against the knowledge or permission of Monica. Wanda takes out the drone before it can fire, and then a perimeter breach alarm sounds out. The Sword agents, led by Hayward, rush to the perimeter as Wanda emerges from the anomaly in her original uniform, dragging the demolished drone along with her. Wanda warns Hayward to stay out of her home. Hayward points out that she's taken an entire town hostage, and when Wanda says that she's not the one with the guns, Monica points out that she is the one in control. And this was my favorite scene in the episode.
Yeah.
Wanda's got her accent back. She's wearing her like Avengers in-game outfit.
Yep.
She's looking like a real badass. Like they've got all these guns trained on her, and she just doesn't care.
Your bullets mean nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like when Monica shows up, she's just like, "Oh, you're still here." And then she starts like doing her like magic hands thing and
magic hand thing.
And she starts giving real hard jazz hands.
Oh yeah, I do actually kind of like Olsen's the way she acts when she's doing her power thing, because like on camera there's no red flashy images or anything like that. She's just using her imagination, but she's always got that style. It's kind of cool. I like it. It's fun.
It's very witchy.
Yeah, very
Probably
witchy.
practiced that in the mirror a few times.
I bet she did.
So Monica insists that she's Wanda's ally and asks Wanda what she wants. Wanda says that she has what she wants and that no one will ever take it from her again. Wanda then mind controls the Sword agents to turn their guns on Hayward and goes back into the anomaly, changing the barrier red before she does
This is so freaking cool. I love how flippantly she did it too, where she's just like, go away.
And Hayward's like, whoa.
He's freaking, all the lasers go right to him. The use of the green lasers in this episode were awesome. Like you see them all trained on Wanda, and then like as soon as she does her little hand flip thing, they're just like right on the director, and freaks out.
It was kind of mirroring what Magneto did in the first X-Men movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. It's a cool little callback too to Ian McKellen, right? Ian McKellen is Magneto, yeah.
Yep.
Where he's like Homo sapiens and their guns, and he just like uses them against it. It's really cool. It's a nice little callback, and I really hope it pays off in an even bigger way, like later on, if they introduce Magneto.
But it was so cool to see like the original Wanda back and just see her like have this showdown with Hayward, and it was a very tense scene, and it was the highlight of the episode.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I had a ton of fun with it. It was cool. All right, what happens next?
And then we cut to commercial for Lagos paper towels for when you make a mess you didn't mean to.
This is a reference that hit home for me because I remember these stupid paper towel commercials when I was a kid.
The brownie one?
Yes, the bounty.
Oh yeah,
picker upper. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Picker upper.
Yeah, this is one of those references that really hit home for me because I was like,
husbands make messes too.
yeah, it was like, and the mom and the kids are sitting there and they spill their juice and they're like, you need a better paper towel. Like, That was
Well, it was true. Old paper towels sucked.
Oh,
before
yeah.
that,
And
for
the
sure.
husband spills his huge beer stein.
it was a good moment. I really like this commercial. This is the commercial that really like.
but the greater importance is Lagos is the the city that they were in at the beginning of Captain America Civil War, where she accidentally blew out that building and killed all those people.
Yeah, and even the commercial referenced that too. And they're like, "When you make a mess that you didn't mean to make," and it was like, wink, wink. It was a good moment. Good commercial.
Yeah. So back in the Hex, Sparky has run off, and Wanda and the twins are looking for him. They come across Agnes, who has Sparky's body. The dog died from eating too many poisonous leaves, apparently. Wanda orders the distraught twins not to age up and run away from the sadness of losing Sparky. The kids ask Wanda to bring the dog back to life, and Agnes asks if she can really do that. Wanda sidesteps the answer and tells the twins there are rules in life that everyone has to follow, including reversing death, no matter how sad it makes us.
This does this seem weird to anybody? Like she did exactly what she's telling her kids not to do.
Well, I think that this comes up a lot in this episode, this mentality of do what I say, not as I do. Like they were doing that with Vision. And they were saying like, oh, well, Wanda went against his wishes, but we were too. But, focus on Wanda. She's the bad guy. And now, Wanda brought back Vision and she's saying like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. But, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. Okay. You think it's just like a
Yeah,
hypocritical kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
These are all things that are.
And I think that she assumes that
chipping
no one
away.
knows. But I think that there are several people that the jig is up for.
I think she's also caring less and less about keeping up the illusion.
Oh yeah.
But this is the very special episode part where she has to
Explain death to her
explain
kids.
death to the kids,
Yeah.
exactly. So later that night, after Vision has buried Sparky, he confronts Wanda about what's going on in Westview, and he tells her about his conversation with the real Norm and demands to know what's going on. Wanda tries to run away by rolling the end credits, but Vision isn't allowing it. He demands she stop lying to him, and the two rise up in the air, facing off with one another. And this is probably the most iconic shot of the series so far.
Yeah, they're both hovering there. Wanda's got her red glowy hands, and Vision's ready to throw down. It was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen, and she even said it in the show. Like I've never heard you talk to me that way before. Because in the movies, like he's the robot, right? He's very controlled. No matter what the circumstances are, he's always in control. And this is like the first time we ever see Vision like go off on
and
somebody.
he's always seen the best of her.
Yeah.
In everything.
Yeah. So this was it was a cool character change for me. Like watching.
It's like-
maybe except when she kicks his butt with Hawkeye and the Civil War.
But
even then, he was still very forgiving.
Yeah, I mean, he was sorry that they had to fight in the first place. I think there was the scene where Tony calls him to stop Falcon. He's with Wanda, like holding her, and he looks up and he uses his beam and he hits War Machine and stuff like that. So, like, he has a lot of heart. He loves Wanda.
Yeah.
And again, he's always in control. Even when he's upset, even when he's fighting with even like the evilest of evil people, he's always just flatlined robot. But this is like he goes off, dude. Amps it up to 11.
Because he doesn't remember who he was before this.
Yeah, that was a freaky moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says that he can't remember his life before Westview and that he doesn't know who he is and that he's scared.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's cool.
It's very telling.
And I'm glad that Paul Bettany got to like show his acting chops too, because he sold that scene.
Yeah.
It was a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wanda calms him down by telling Vision that he's her husband and Tommy and Billy's father, and she asks if that's enough for him. Vision asks why there are no other children in Westview. Wanda asks if he really thinks that she's really controlling everything and that, she's in charge of everything that happens. She claims she doesn't know how any of this started, but Vision tells her that what she's doing here is wrong. However, before she can respond, the doorbell rings as if on cue.
And she says, I'm not doing this. Or she says, I didn't do that or something
Oh
like that.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
She was
and,
like,
and Vision's like, at this point, I'm just ignoring statistics.
Yeah.
Like he totally doesn't believe her.
yeah, that's an interesting. I forgot
Yeah.
that she said that. Yeah. So like normally, like we've shown Agnes show up at just the right time, and Vision is picking up on those moments. And now we have this one, and Wanda's like, it wasn't me.
Well, we've seen that several times with Wanda where she gets genuinely surprised by things. She's genuinely surprised by
Yeah.
the appearance of the dog.
Yeah,
Yep.
and she's making the case here that she's not controlling
She's
everything.
not the boss
So
here.
who is she controlling, and how much of this? Because when she comes out of the hex and she's confronting the FBI agents, it's it's pretty much like, I'm in control of this. This is my home. You leave me alone.
Yeah, and we don't know what she's done to that barrier now that it's turned red.
Yeah.
You know, because it used to be like you couldn't see it, but now, you know, it's very obvious what it is.
Yeah.
And another important thing in this exchange is the fact that there are no other children there. It's like, what happened to the children that were in that town? You know?
Yep. And then,
For
and then
the
for oh, I missed the cue.
I didn't know that was
Dang
a
it.
thing. Is that a thing?
We
right.
should do it from now on.
3, 2, 1.
For the children. And we noticed that in the commercial for the next episode, or at some point in time, there's like the whole town's full of kids.
Yeah, the Halloween episode.
Yeah, the Halloween episode. There's like a bunch of kids. So it seems a little convenient. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a case of the Mondays.
Nah, man.
No, man. I believe somebody gets your ass kicked for saying something like that. That's a movie reference. Okay,
Two
so
chicks at the same time.
we'll talk about it in March, Jude. It's on my
She
birthday
gets a
list.
frown.
You guys don't let me have anything.
It's on my March list. It's my birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday? Yeah. Oh, okay, we'll talk about it.
Quit
right.
whispering.
I don't know. We're being weird again.
All right. So Wanda goes to answer the door and is shocked to find that her brother, Pietro, but recast as the Fox X-Men version of the character starring
That's
Evan
so weird.
Peters, is at the door.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about this because this is a big moment.
And Darcy sees this and says, she recast
Pietro?
Which I thought was a fantastic, because like
Yeah.
the recasting stuff does happen on these 80s TV shows.
Yeah.
But don't you think Evan Peters was pulling a very Uncle Jesse vibe on?
Oh,
Huh.
yeah. Did he say have mercy or something like that?
No, he said,
Oh.
what's with the popsicle?
Oh, okay. Yeah. He does. Yeah. Uncle Jesse. I could see that. No, this was cool. Like, I have by no means don't hate the Quicksilver from Age of Ultron.
not at
I think he
all.
did fine. And I like that actor. He's cool. He's kick ass. He does the Godzilla movies and stuff like that. So I like him as an actor.
Is that Aaron Taylor? Is that his name?
I think so.
Evan.
No. Evan Peters was this one, but the one in Age of Ultron.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Poor guy. He's a good actor though.
I think
and
it's Aaron Taylor Thomas. Or
sounds
That
No.
sounds like Jonathan
Yeah,
Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
I'll look it up.
Look it up, Jude. No, I thought it was cool, but this has bigger implications in the universe, in the MCU as a whole. Like, we know outside of this universe, in the real world that we live in, Disney purchased Fox, which
Right.
owned the X-Men, Days of Future Past, the original with
I got to tell you though,
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
there we go.
I was close.
I wasn't expecting any of the old actors to reprise their old roles from the Fox movies in any way.
Yeah, me neither.
I thought they were going to recast everybody. So this threw me for a
But it's a great way to bring those movies into the fold.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So now that brings up the question: are those movies now canon in the MCU?
In an alternate
they could
universe.
be.
In an alternate universe?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's cool to think about that because now, Disney has so much freaking money. They could drop a
It's-
truckload in
it's
front
also
of.
kind of interesting to point out that the Evan Peters Quicksilver in the Fox X-Men movies, he was introduced in the Days of Future Past timeline, which took place in the 80s.
Mhm.
And so, like, because this sitcom's in the 80s, she pulled in the 80s version of Pietro
Oh,
instead
Tricky,
of
tricky.
instead of the
That's cool.
2000s versions from Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And
you're
I knew we were going to see Pietro at the end of this episode. I called it.
Did you?
As soon as she said, that makes me sad, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he's coming back.
Yeah.
End of the episode.
And I love, like, when he appears, you have like the audience like, woo!
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
like the typical sitcom, like, oh, we're surprised.
When a special guest, every time a special guest shows up
I
on a
actually
sitcom,
like this version of Quicksilver better than the one. that
a
we
lot
got
of
in
people
Ultron.
do. Yeah.
The scenes in the two movies he was in where he's like pulling people in and out of the
Yep.
different
Yeah.
explosions and stuff. Those are awesome.
With the music
They're
and
like the
everything.
highlights of those movies in my head.
Yeah, it was funny because I was talking to Jude about Evan Peters the other day about how he's like impregnated like two like superstars.
I never knew
Oh really?
any of
I did
this.
not know that.
Yeah, like what's her name?
Emma Roberts?
Emma Roberts. So he has a child with Emma Roberts, and then he just got Halsey pregnant. The pop star.
Huh.
So like he's
He needs some work.
yeah he's in Hollywood like
Yeah, he's like Alex.
yeah. Just putting
I am
babies
not-
all up in one.
Popping babies up in bitches.
I was gonna say, I am not impregnating superstars from Hollywood.
Well, you just keep impregnating the same woman.
over
and over.
and over again.
You get around.
Like
Just
a record.
in your house.
Yeah,
That's
well,
a movie reference.
I like that we do that, Jude. Don't roll your eyes.
I'm rolling my eyes at him.
It's funny because they're like, that's a movie reference, and then it just pops up right next to me. I like that. That's funny stuff. Okay, so what was I going to say? Oh, it opens up the door to having all these cool X-Men characters. I mean, we could freaking have Hugh Jackman back. We could have Ian McKellen, like Deadpool, everybody that
The little
that they
girl,
bought.
the little girl from Logan.
Yes. Oh, X-23. Hell yeah, she was awesome. Yeah, it just opens up.
They could probably pull some of them over.
It opens up so many doors, and I'm really stoked about it. And the biggest thing that I want to talk about is in the MCU, it's never stated that where Wanda and her brother Pietro come from, but in the comic books, they're the son and daughter of Magneto. So that brings into question, are we going to have Fassbender show up at some point in time and be the dad of Wanda? Like, that would be...
I think to future-proof things, they need Fassbender instead of McKellen.
Dude,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I love that idea. Like, I really like Fassbender's Magneto.
Fassbender playing old Magneto.
Dude.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be so freaking cool. I'd be so down for that. I hope they do it. Because now that they brought in...
So many nerd
boners
across the
so
table
excited.
right now.
I don't want the guy that plays Professor X to play Professor X.
James McAvoy?
Yeah, I'm not a huge
You don't
fan.
like him?
Nah, not
Well,
really.
they're not going to have Fassbender come back and not him.
Well, I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do?
Yeah.
They could do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I just really want to see Fassbender as
We got infinite universes we can pull things from, you know. So.
If he comes back as Wanda's
Doctor
dad.
Strange is going to get really weird.
Yeah, if they're going the multiverse route, like the next Spider-Man movie and all of Sony's stuff is going to be very interesting too.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's rumors out there that the next Spider-Man's going to have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Well, I don't think that's a rumor anymore.
Yeah,
is it official?
No, they're actually shooting it with them.
Yes.
It's going to be trippy.
What's the matter, Jude?
Nothing.
That excites me.
I know.
It's really cool.
I know.
Did you see Spider-Man Into the Multiverse or that movie, the cartoon movie?
Mm-mm.
That's one of the best Spider-Man movies out there.
I know,
disagree,
that's what everybody
but
keeps
Into the Spider-Verse was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
Into the Spider-Verse was a ton of
It gave
fun.
me a headache.
You're so old.
It
All
just,
right.
I didn't like it. Sorry.
Jude, did you want to say something about the dog? You had a theory?
Oh, I already said it.
Oh, did you?
That I think Agnes was the one pulling the strings with the dog the whole time. I think that Agnes brought in the dog, and I think Agnes took it out.
Just to force the kids to try and grow up.
Well, I didn't think about that aspect of it, but I think that her goal was to just pull Wanda's strings and just to see what she could get Wanda to do.
Do you think she murdered the dog?
Yes.
I think it's a good possibility because she was doing something behind those bushes.
Yeah. But did she even have the dog? I mean, all she had was like a rolled up blanket.
I
You know what I mean?
think you could see the dog in there.
Could you?
Yeah, and Vision buried it.
Oh, okay. I guess, yeah. I didn't think about honestly, I thought the dog, this is super weird and dark of me to think, but because we talked about Norm, how much pain he was in, I thought the dog was in a ton of pain and it was just trying to off itself. Like it tried to lick the electrical socket to die, and it was like trying to eat the poisonous bush so that it would die. Like I was like, my God, that dog really wants out.
What if all of the children in the neighborhood are now animals and that was a child?
That's an awful theory.
I don't really think that.
Okay.
No, but I think that was all Agnes.
Okay, cool. Right on. I can see that. I think she definitely is pulling some strings. And this episode, like I said, they beat you over the head with Wanda's in control. Wanda's in control. Wanda's in control. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Is there anything left, Kadish, in this episode?
No, that was it.
No? Okay.
What do you
cool.
guys think
Roll the
next
credits.
episode's going?
Roll the credits. V, what's your final thoughts on this episode?
Again, man, this show just keeps being good.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot to add
I
to the
think-
conversation, but it's just I'm really excited about this show. It's fun.
Right on.
I
Sorry.
look forward to it every week, man. So, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think that we need some baby and toddler pictures of all of us for the credits.
Oh, that would be great.
You know how much editing Kadish would have to do to make that work?
He'll do it. It's an art.
I don't have
He is
any.
an artiste.
All right. What are your final thoughts on the episode?
Pretty much.
Same.
Yeah,
Just keeps
same.
on getting better.
Yeah. Ever since what is this 5?
Yeah.
Ever since 4, I've just been like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 4 definitely hit the gas pedal on this season, so I'm excited.
I watch this show as soon as I get home from work on
Yeah.
Thursday nights because
Yeah.
it comes on at midnight.
we watch it and then we watch it again, like immediately.
I at least watch it twice, especially
Mm-hmm.
for the podcast. I watched it last night too. Kadish, final thoughts on this episode?
I really enjoyed this episode. I don't think it was as good as the 4th episode, but the big reveal at the end was cool. So yeah.
Right on. All right, guys, that's it for our discussion of WandaVision episode 5. Thank you for joining us. Real quick around the table, where can we find everybody? Starting with the Barbarian Space Viking.
At Matt Vader 74 on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
Right on. And Jude?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram and Twitter, and you can find me on my website and check out my demos for my voice gigs at thevoiceofjude.com.
Right on. Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com for my Amazon page.
And I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd, or if you'd like to support the podcast, go to saltynerdclub.com, become a Patreon. All right, guys, catch us next week. We'll see you later.